Harry Bartz. It's 2:13 in the morning. I've been sleeping, meditating for an hour. I was thinking and contemplating about the web of life with Harry Bartz. I first met Harry in LA in 1976, about 40 years ago. It wasn't until the late 70s did we come in contact with each other again. We both moved to South Florida in the late 70s. We were both involved with the same teacher. At that time, Harry was running a tree cutting business. It was great business. There was always plenty of work. Harry hired me and we became good friends. At that time, windsurfing took off in America. Harry took up windsurfing. He invited me to his house, and in his backyard, I learned how to windsurf. I bought a board and it was love at first sight. John Byer and I were windsurfing buddies. During certain seasons, the wind would howl and you would have the time of your life. I didn't see Harry for a while. One day I bumped into him and he told me he finished a year course at the Computer Science Institute. He took basic Fortran and COBOL. I always knew I was going to be involved with computers. Even at a young age, I knew that. To make a long story short, I'm still involved 35 years later. So Harry was a catalyst. Here's the definition. In chemistry, a substance that causes a chemical reaction to occur, but is not itself involved in the reaction. Note, the term catalyst is often used to refer to the prime agent of any change. She was the catalyst for the reorganization. I find it fascinating that life's events help you to be at the right place and right time. Synchronicity was there. Harry gave me the impulse to enroll and start an incredible career. Yet, it doesn't stop there. Harry was one of the ones who told me about Mafu. Fast forward a few years. Barbara and I moved into a house with Linda Graham. Linda's ex-boyfriend was Don Rockman, who in the future, 25 years later, provided the music for my first poetry music CD. It's featured on this site. Yeah, guess who's living next door? Harry Bartz. Harry made a ton of money selling computers and moved to Sedona. This was in 1987. In 1991, my family and I moved to Hawaii for 6 glorious years. I got a software engineering job at Maui Space Surveillance Site. My wife and daughter went to Maui, and I went to Portland, Oregon for a few weeks. I had a contracting job. I was going to work on. In Portland, I get a call from Harry, and he tells me that Mafu was going to give a 3-day retreat in Ashland, Oregon. He was teaching about ancient Vedic meditation techniques. Now that's a subject I love and dear to my heart, so I went. In 1999, I started working with Charles Schwab as a senior software engineer. At that time, our family was living in Penn Valley, California. I was a telecommuter. Now, Penn Valley internet connection wasn't very good. In fact, it was horrible. You had to use a modem. So I started to look for a community that had a great internet connection and a great high school for my daughter. Well, Ashland, Oregon just recently installed the whole town with fiber optics. Ashland High was an incredible school for my daughter. Guess what? Harry was still living there. During 2000 to 2008, we spent a lot of time seeing Mafu. He liked me. When we first moved there, one day he got off the stage and came up to me and gave me his initiation jacket. This jacket he wore for many of his initiation. I was honored. At that time, I also was involved in a mystery school and used that jacket for the initiations. For many people, they think that channeling was a fake. Well, I met and talked to Mafu many times. We had a relationship that was deep. Like any relationships, you know one another. Yet, there were numerous times I saw Penny, who channels Mafu, and said hello. She had no idea who I was. In fact, I think I spoke to her once when she was reading off the list of attendants for a seminar and said hi to each one. One day I saw her and Rob Spindler was with her. I said hi, and I was walking away. She whispered to Rob, "Who's that?" Rob said, "That's Richard Fletcher." That really gave me a sign that I had a relationship with Mafu. How can you have a relationship with someone when you never interacted with them? So it makes perfect sense for Penny to say, "Who's that? We have never interacted before." What I like about his group, the Mafu taught about kindness. He taught about compassion. He talked about meditating for the whole planet. He taught universal truths. The universe is kind. That is its nature. Mafu is kind. That is his nature. As human beings, our true nature is kindness. It is just covered up. So here was a group practicing universal truths of love and compassion. It wasn't just words. Mafu was an incredible drummer. Imagine during the winter, it's snowing, and you're on top of a mountain inside of an ashram. It's nighttime, and the wind is howling. Mafu is on stage beating these huge Japanese taiko drums. It's a sight to see. At that time and place, you can be in some remote monastery on top of a mountain in the Himalayas at night. Now, back to Harry. As you can see, Harry has had a tremendous impact in my life. Harry is very kind. In Sedona, I had little to my name, and Harry would treat me to lunch. Harry doesn't say much, like myself at times. He doesn't preach. He just smiles. He has nothing to prove. He loves to meditate. I know he is having a great experience, but he doesn't talk about it. Yet you can see it from his eyes. He is humble. He has served the Foundation for Meditative Studies for over 25 plus years. I call him a few times each year. It's good to connect with a dear friend. Friendships are God's way to connect to Him. Imagine we are the universe, yet we have forgotten that fact. Friendship is God's way of saying, "I love you." Treasure your friends. We all have an aching soul that's trying to find its way home. Friendships help soothe the soul.